Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode of Dortmunder Homebrew. That's right. Here we are. We're on Dortmunder Homebrew. Yeah, and we're here to talk beer. We got our buddy Ryan back on. Ryan from Old Standby Brewing. You might remember him from a previous show or two. And he has another beer for us to try, so we're going to be drinking that. I don't think we're going to be judging it, right? We're not going to do like a score sheet or whatever. We're just going to bullshit about it.
Right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
I like
no
that.
Pressure.
That is exactly Ryan. I kind of like that better. Yeah, I don't know why. It's not like I do the sheet anyways, but I sort of like just the vibes. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Sure.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to expand this stupid thing. Here we go. I also, I can't get it out of my head. So when you guys are talking, I'm gonna take a COVID test.
Okay.
We've been doing a little bit more stuff than we usually do, but we're still masked. Like Alice had her pre-K graduation ceremony.
Oh wow!
The other night, yeah, which
was
really
cool.
Yeah, it was, but it was a rat fuck, man. It was like so. It was so. This school that she goes to, this fucking Montessori bullshit, is like. It's the most poorly run institution I've ever seen in my entire life. Like the Brewing Network would put it to shame, but we got to keep pictures like this.
Oh, that is so cool. Sweet. That is a sweet photo.
Right on.
Yeah. Anyway,
she looks ready for kindergarten in that photograph.
She is. I mean, we're going
maybe first grade even.
I know, right? She's tall, but we've just been doing. I don't know. We've been like, oh, let's go get smoothies. Okay, kind of like doing that kind of stuff. And
you mean like most of us started doing back in 2021?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Look, man, you're not gonna make me feel bad. I'm way past that.
I just remember that feeling and I can relate to it.
Oh,
it's hard to remember because it was so long ago.
It was so long ago, yeah. Then I started not really feeling very great. My throat kind of hurts and now I just feel icky. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna sit through the next two shows thinking about it. So I'm just gonna do it.
And we'll have a live reveal. Hold it up.
Oh yeah, a gender reveal. Yeah, we'll see if I have an increased chance of Parkinson's and blood clots, guys. It'll be fun. This would be a good time. But anyway, we're not here to talk about my, pseudo health problems. We're here to talk about Ryan and his beer, his Collab beer. But before we get to that, please visit our fine sponsor, 5starchemicals.com. You can go there and learn the best ways to clean and sanitize your home brewing equipment, which is, of course, PBW and Star Sand and the other stuff that they have. Apparently, it's in my notes. So the other day, I think it was Cooper, maybe it was Schar. I don't know. You guys look alike. You guys, one of you told me they have
liquid. Has the spectacular hair, though, and I really don't. So,
well, you
got more than me.
It's a wig. Cooper has a wig. He doesn't.
I'll pull this off.
Oh yeah, for sure. You said like, oh, they have liquid PBW now. And I'm like, what the fuck? That blew my mind. It's in my notes. Like I should have known about it before you, but I didn't. But anyway, check them out. Go to 5starchemicals.com. Be sure to sign up for their Homebrew Club program. If you want the direct URL, it's 5starchemicals.com/homebrew-club-program. You can get free swag. You can get discounts. You can get free seminars. It's a whole cool thing. So check them out. Homebrew Club program, 5starchemicals.com. All right, Ryan, welcome back, my dude.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys having me back.
Yeah, and this was unsolicited too. We just said like on the last show, I kind of as a throwaway, like, hey, man, why don't you just send us and you did it. You actually like sent us beer, so that's cool. I appreciate it. What is this beer now?
Yeah, this is the Dortmunder that brewed this with Zoiglhaus, up in Portland. Man, Portland got like, a foot of snow the day before we were supposed to brew this beer.
Wow.
And so I couldn't, we were going to do 2 turns on there. They have a 10-barrel system up there. They're getting ready to expand into a 20 or a 30. But we were going to do 2 turns on their 10. And so I missed the first day because I couldn't get up there. So swab it, man. Get it way up there.
Oh yeah, you got to do it. You got to do the mouth too, man. That's the way it goes.
Oh man.
I was talking to my. This is how much of a professional I am. I have a swab in my nose, and I'm still just conducting an interview because I'm cool.
I'm not sure you're as far enough up your nose though, Jason.
Oh, it's far. I got a big nose.
Rotate
like
around,
up here. Yeah. I was talking to my my buddies in hops, and actually today, and he goes, "It's weird how the industry's changed because, you know, in the past it's like, oh, you got to be the formula was like 10 barrels, that's it. You minimum, you can't go any lower than that for distro and whatever. But now it's like 20 or 25 because the market is so." It's even more competitive than ever, and it's like you're also kind of losing money too. So it's very funny. You hear people like going up from 10 to 20. Okay, they're going to try to start probably pushing into markets and grow distribution levels and stuff like that.
Yeah, the building that they're in, the next door building was this huge carpet shop, and it closed down. And so you can imagine, I mean, it's like a big warehouse next door with tall ceilings. It was ready to go. So so they broke into that through the walls. And when I actually made it up there for the second day of brewing, we did about 22 barrels of this beer. So made it up there for the second day. They had cleared the ice off the freeways, and I was able to get up there. So
jeez, man. I love our socialist program of the ice clearers and all the people who maintain our roads via socialism. I love it so much. Is that the most barrelage you've done of a beer of yours?
Yeah, that one was last year when we did the ESB with Ex Novo, we did 20 or 22 barrels of that one. And then
look at you, you're like an old dog. You're like, oh, I don't know, man, whatever.
And then the one that there's a few that I've done now that haven't been released yet because they needed some lagering time or a barrel aging or whatever. So I went out to Bend in March and brewed with Cascade Lakes, and we did 24 barrels out there of a hoppy Ellis. So that one's getting ready to come out. And then last month I went back out to Bend and brewed with Ale Apothecary. I don't know if you guys have heard of them or had any of their beers or not.
Yeah, I interviewed them when I was doing the session by myself. I forget the homie's name.
Yeah, Paul probably.
Paul, okay. Yeah, it was like the dude. And the beers, I remember like it I don't know if you guys have this too, but maybe it's a humble brag, I don't know. But it's hard to get a beer that blows your mind anymore because we've had every iteration and it's like, okay, this kind of tastes like this or whatever. This can be really good, but to have something that like fundamentally sort of redefine how certain beers are made, that's what I remember about those beers. They're like farmhousey, if I remember correctly, right? Yeah,
definitely.
And they're so clean but complex, and they're not like funky and overdriven or acidic or whatever. They're just like probably the best expression of those kinds of beers I've probably ever had. They're awesome.
Yeah. He's just him and his wife, and they have one co-owner that run the whole thing. And they have a little tasting room in town and a barrel aging, warehouse there that's hooked to it. And then they actually brew the beers up at his house, which is about 10 miles outside of Bend, like up in the woods. And so, we're like mashing in these barrels. We mashed in the night before in these wooden barrels, and he's got all this like everything's just homemade, and it's pretty rad. He worked for Deschutes for like 20 years, and then he branched off and did his own thing. And so, so we brewed a saison, and then we fermented it with the rustic yeast from Imperial, and then it fermented out, and then he blended in. I wasn't there for the blending portion of it, but we tasted a few of the ones that they were going to blend with. So they blended in with some of their other barrel aged beer, and we hit it with some Brett. We got a couple liters of Brett from Imperial for that, and so it's in the barrels now. It's just it'll be a couple months, and then he's going to hit it with some heather flower. I think he said he wanted to add that to it. It's going to actually get packaged. So
I did that one time. I used heather in a beer in ESB. God, I probably still have the note somewhere. It was like mid-aughts. It was awesome. It worked out really well.
It worked well.
Yeah.
It sounded weird. It sounds odd to me, I guess. We have heather out front in our, it's like, okay, I would never think of putting that in a beer, but maybe I should try it for the right beer.
There you go.
I like the blending part is so much fun. The Brett once you get a little kind of some a bud, an unpolished gem of a beer, and you add the Brett, and it just starts to come into its own, and then
definitely,
then you can have fun with it. But yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about this Dort.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So it's
which
Dortmunder
is now
for
like a German Helles export beer, which I don't like that they renamed. I don't like. I'm going to be you for a second, JP. I don't like that. I like it to be called Dortmunder Export.
Let's petition to have it renamed.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's your problem, Schar? You don't like what?
I don't like that it's called German Helles Export beer in the 2021 guidelines. We're all used to calling it.
Yeah.
It's a 5C German Helles Export beer. No, it's a Dortmunder Export.
So Dortmunder. What's the difference between a German Helles and a Dortmunder?
Nothing.
It's also known as
different name for the same thing now.
Okay. So I guess I could see how they would clean that up a little bit, but also you're right. It's like going to a very popular niche sort of conference, and then that conference changes their name suddenly. It's like, why did we change our name? I don't understand.
It's been NHC for 25, 30 years, and now it's HomebrewCon.
You said it, not me. I mean, that's not.
Well, in Germany, they just they call it export. They don't refer to themselves in the Dortmunder.
Okay, all right, that makes sense, Cooper. I get it. But I mean, Dortmunder, I don't know. I mean, I like it too. Dortmunder Export, don't get me wrong. I think it's good. But so it's called Dortmunder for Doernbecher. Did I get my saying
it's
that
the
right?
children's hospital there. Yeah. Up in the South Hills of Portland, there's a big research hospital, OHSU, and then hooked to that is the children's hospital called Doernbecher, which is named after, I think he was he was a salesman or something back in the 20s, 30s, 40s in Portland. And he got wealthy and he donated basically all of his whole estate to the hospital, and they named the children's wing after him. And so, that's Doernbecher's. And so, so the brewer and I both had a kind of a family tie to the children's hospital, and when we were planning this, we're like, let's just brew something for Doernbecher. And so we started throwing out some German styles because they're a German lager brewery mostly. He studied in Germany.
At Zoiglhaus.
Zoiglhaus is the name of the brewery in Portland. Yeah. So he studied in Germany and he lived over there for 6 or 8 years, and then he moved back and got this started with some other guys. So so we decided to go for the Dortmunder, because it fit good with the name of this.
No, that's great.
In Emeryville, they have Wondrous Brewing. The guy that brews there, trained in Germany for a long time too. And you can tell these brewers that come back from learning it the right way over there and bring that skill back. And some of those are turning into some of the key, well-regarded lagers in the judging world. I think.
I wonder if they're going over there. I mean, you go over there obviously to study the beer, but education's free over there. You don't got to pay for it.
Yeah,
I wonder if
really
that's part of it too.
My daughter is almost 16 and she's starting to look at colleges, and I'm encouraging her to think about Germany, think about places where you can, even if you're not a citizen, you can go to college for free.
Yep.
So I would miss her, but it's a good excuse to go to Germany and visit.
Sure.
Hey, ship me back these beers every month, please. You're going to be my mule.
Hey, Ruth, can you go to Bamberg while you're out there?
I got a show on smoke beer coming up in 2 months. I need you to give me some fresh research material.
Are you pushing her towards brewing school in Germany, or
no, not at all. I mean, she wants to do what she wants to do, and if she wants to ever brew beer, that's great. If she never does, that's great too.
Yeah, totally. Very good. That's a good way to look at it.
Right
so when you approach the hospital with this plan, what do they say? Are they stoked about it? I would imagine, hospital would be like, well, I don't know. You don't want to be aligning yourself with alcohol maybe, or whatever, if there's some stigma, but also in Oregon, I feel like it's just second nature. So
yeah. I emailed them, and they had a couple of rules on how to use, what wording to use, on the packaging.
Oh, okay.
And that was about it. We couldn't actually use the they have a little a logo, a cartoon kind of logo of a little girl that's on their the Doernbecher logo, and they said that we weren't allowed to use that on any alcohol products, but we could use the name. And and so they were totally on board with it,
which makes sense, and you got to respect that.
sure.
That's cool. Yeah, absolutely. I do like the you know, I am a little bit of a softie, and so I'm like reading this the description on the back, and it says Doernbecher Children's Hospital at OHSU has been there for our community, saving lives, diagnosing difficult cases, and helping families through challenging times. Like, if you're already emotionally like tied to the beer, even just reading the thing, I think it's great. Did you write that?
For sure. No, actually, the brewer did. He put it. We kind of brainstormed some ideas, and he put it together and sent it off to his artist, and his artist put this label together and one other option, and we kind of just proofed it and approved it pretty quick. So,
I think it's cool, man. It's a good story, and it's out of the market now.
For sure. Yeah, it's out. It's all over in Portland. I think it went up as far as Seattle. In cans.
Wow.
And but I think it's on the tail end now, because it came out I think mid to late March is when it came out.
Mid to late March. Okay. So, excellent. Let me do this. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we can chat the beer up a little bit, and maybe we can talk recipe for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right. Hang on, everyone. It's Dr. Homebrew. We'll be right back. All right. Thanks for sticking around. We are still here with Ryan from Old Standby Brewing, talking about Dortmunder for Doernbecher, the charity collab he did with Zoiglhaus up in Oregon, and it's obviously a Dortmunder Export, which is Brian's new nickname, I think.
You're getting pretty close on the German pronunciation there. The way you said Zoiglhaus, it sounded pretty good. I
wasn't even trying. I know,
but like
natural.
It's the Z would be more like a Zoiglhaus, but
Zoiglhaus.
Zoiglhaus.
You have to have this kind of inflection in your voice.
Yeah,
ever watch
Zoiglhaus? Yeah.
You ever watch Great British Bake Off?
Oh yeah.
No, but I've watched Sprockets.
Okay, well, yeah. There's a guy on, like, I forget what season. I think it was maybe 9. I think it was up season 9. Jürgen. He's like from the Black Forest in Germany, and he very much had this forced voice. It's very, I don't know, it's very funny. It was very fun to just do his voice over and over again.
Yeah.
This is the time in Dr. Homebrew where we dance.
I am from the Black Forest.
You could clone his
dude. It's that stereotypical German voice, right? It's just like, but like light, lighter a little bit, like, oh yeah, whatever. Who cares? All right, let's talk about this beer, Cooper.
Yeah,
you're itching to say words today. What do you think?
And so in the nose, I'm getting some toast with a very light. I felt like I got a light, kind of a fruitiness to it. I don't know if it's from malt or from something in the hops, but there's almost like a little orange rind kind of thing in there. It doesn't seem like it's a big ferment ester or anything like that. It seems like it's well lagered, but something's just pushing a light little edge of a hint at fruitiness, which is, it's actually playing nice with the beer. It's not like jumping out in a weird way, but and the flavor, getting a nice rich toastiness in the flavor. I felt in the nose, I got a little, a moderate amount of some sulfur at first, and it does blow off fairly quickly. But sulfur is a key component in a lot of lagers, and it's allowable. Most lager styles, you can have a bit of that, and that's fine. But yeah, the balance is nice. I like it's got a really full, round flavor. It's not just toast only, it's toast and bread crusts, and but not too hard on the rich side of like dark bread crust. It's like a light untoasted bread crust, and just really clean. The bitterness comes up to kind of match the balance with the malt, but the malt almost pushes over the top of that a little bit. The bitterness is probably medium, but it feels like almost like just a little lighter than that, because it's a bold malt presence there. It's semi-dry. There's not too much sweetness here. It should be well attenuated. But it's not bone dry either. It's got,
there's some body to it still.
It feels almost like a medium full body. These beers can lean that direction. So for a lager, you just hand somebody who's used to drinking standard American lager this beer, it's like it's a different world because it's so much bigger and bolder, but still not like Doernbecher or anything like that. But
sure,
it's a step in the right direction for, hey, try something a little more, some oomph to it.
Yeah. I think it's why they call the German polka music Oompa music, because the beer has
That's exactly why. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it is. All right. That it? We lose you?
For now, yeah. I wanted to see what Brian had to say about it too.
How's he gonna know?
I was waiting to be sure you were done, Coop. That's some quality dead air on Dr. Homebrew.
Hey man, with
I'm
AI,
waiting for a Coop to wrap it up. Yeah,
with AI, I can cut that in seconds now. Dude.
Exactly.
About it. Yeah.
I mean,
don't worry
you can
about
probably run me through Chat GPT, and you don't even need to have me on anymore.
Serious.
Hey man,
But,
wouldn't be the
I
same.
like doing the show, but technology. But the aroma on this, I don't get quite the citrus that Coop does. I definitely get the Pilsner malt, but it's not perfumey Pilsner malt 100%, right? That's there, but it's there. There is, like, I agree with Coop, you get like a bready, not doughy, but you get definitely a quality bread aroma from this. Like you go to the bakery and get like a good fresh bread, maybe like a baguette almost. You get that out of the aroma of this. It's not really a hoppy aroma. I don't get a lot of hops, but that's okay. I mean, for this style should be, I think, firmly bitter, but it's, what do you IBUs 20 to 30? It's got some bitterness to balance. This is not a hop bomb or a giant hop aroma style. Appearance is great. Again, like I always talk about, there's some bubbles around the edge, and that's persistent head. It's there. It's been here for a while. I poured this, 20 minutes ago, and that's still hanging around. That's fantastic. It's very clear. There's maybe a tiny bit of haze, but I don't know. It was brewed in March. Maybe there's some yeast in the can. I wouldn't ding this for being hazy, right? And some of it may be chill haze as well. Flavor, definitely. You get some breadiness, some minerality in a very pleasant way, right? You read the style guidelines for this, and it talks about how mineral character is typically perceived more as a roundness and fullness of flavor, and a dry, flinty sharpness in the finish rather than overt mineral flavors.
Flinty sharpness. And
I think I would translate that to mean it's not like you're licking a rock. The minerals are added in a way that it gives you that mouthfeel. And I would agree that there's a dry, flinty sharpness in the finish. And maybe not sharp, but you do get, maybe it accentuates a little bit of hop bitterness. There's hop bitterness here. It's not an IPA, but there's definitely a firm bitterness in this beer. I'm not getting any off flavors, no diacetyl, no DMS.
I do get a little
acetaldehyde.
Do you guys get a little sulfur in the nose? I mean, I'm sure, I would imagine that's to style, just like a little bit. It's okay, and I don't mean it to pick out a flaw, but it is just a thing that I noticed dissipates very quickly.
Yeah.
But it's weird how sulfur in some of these beers can be inviting. Like it's almost like an authentication stamp. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I know I'm gonna get like something that's akin to the real deal because I get this sort of byproduct. Yeah.
Yep. You've used lager yeast. You have a hint of sulfur.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of it's
exactly
cleaned up,
right.
but there's a faint little kind of egginess to it there that you get, and it blows off for the most part.
Yeah,
But
really
it's
quickly.
not that sharp, like really bright sulfur, kind of attacks your nose. It's just that mellower kind of backgroundy, light egginess.
The only reason I caught it is because I poured it in my glass pretty, robustly and then sniffed it immediately. But I hadn't noticed it up to this point. So yeah.
No, I totally agree with you that for a lager, that little bit of sulfur at the beginning can be kind of inviting. And maybe that's why some people don't like beer, maybe they don't like sulfur. But I mean, it's weird. I mean, if you get a lot of it, then it's unpleasant. But that little bit of mean, lager yeast do throw sulfur, and it never really goes entirely away. I don't think, but it's present at a very low level at the very beginning, and I think it's great. Mouthfeel, yeah, it's a definitely medium body, medium carbonation, very smooth, no warming. Overall, I don't really know what I would do better to this beer. You know, the minerality, I suspect you treated the water here, but if you did or didn't, I mean, either way, the minerality is perfect. I mean, this is a beer that was always one of the hallmarks of the style back in the day in the earlier versions of the guidelines is, oh, it's a lot of minerality. And people would take that way too literally and just way over treat their water. And you got on a panel judging Dortmunder and you were like licking rocks all afternoon. It was just crazy, how people would just go nuts with the minerality. And whatever water treatment that you guys did, if you did any, is just perfect. So I would, if I were scoring this would definitely be like around I'd call this a 40, 42 point beer.
Wow. Cooper, what do you think? You agree with that? Are you within 7 of that, or are you going to abuse Brian on the show?
39 or so. Yeah, this is a good beer. I like the kind of floral hop character. I don't know if it's like a Hallertau or something, but you can get the noble hop character in there. And that might be something that I was like interpreting as a little, and not fruitiness necessarily, but kind of, something fruit and bright, adjacent.
I get that too. It's almost like, and Schar, you were both of you were kind of saying it's almost like this light citrusy thing, and it's almost like a lemon blossom or like a lime tree blossom.
Yeah,
where
like
it's not
blossom.
inherently, it's not inherently citrus, but there is a thing. At first I was like candy orange peel, but I was like, no, that's not quite it, because that is more dark, right? But this is
right.
It's not that, but it's acidic on the aromatic side of citrus, right? So I don't know, that kind of
more akin to an orange blossom edge or something.
Yeah, but a little bit more.
I could go with like a slight orange blossom. I could get on board with that.
Yeah, like a lemon or a lime. By the way, I don't have COVID, everybody. Look at that.
Nice.
Apparently I'm just sick.
We're determining this live right here on Dr. Homebrew that JP does not have COVID right now.
You heard it.
Check again.
Right. You heard
Check
it
again
first.
in like an hour.
You should do the other one. I got the other one. Should I?
No, wait until the next show.
Okay.
Test in 2 days if you're still feeling sick. Yeah.
Yeah, you heard it here first. My anxiety sometimes wins, but that's okay.
There are other things going around. I'm glad you don't have
we give ourselves grace for these things. I don't feel bad about it.
The Kraken has not arrived at your door, or the what's the new one? I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know either. All right, Ryan, you want to talk?
Your anxiety lies to you.
That's right. You want to talk a little recipe with us?
Yeah, for sure.
What's in this beer?
Link Malt again, who's been donating all the malt for these beers, all these collabs. So they just they've been amazing. I just call them up and they send a pallet of grain to whatever the next brewery is that I'm working with. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Man, I'm gonna some brewery Bay Area at Lucky Envelope's gonna hear this and be like, Link, hey, this is Ryan. For sure. Just give me a pallet, and he's gonna be like, just get free grain. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, this is Brian, Dr. Homebrew. Yeah, you just need to give me a pallet. Send it over. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have like 4 or 5 different Pilsner malts, and we use the one that's called their Steffi Pils.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Steffi Pils.
Yeah. So it was like 89, 90% Pilsner malt. And then we use some of Link Malt's light Munich as well, about 7%, and about 3% of like a Carapils. They call it a chit malt, but it's like it's a head retention, mouthfeel.
Okay.
And then Yakima Valley Hops has been donating. Same deal. Call them up. They send a boxes of hops wherever. Wow. So we use German Magnum for the bittering edition, and then what you might be getting there is a little bit of fruitiness. This was like 2 weeks before the new crop of German hops arrived, for them anyways. And so we had to sub in with some French hops, and we used Triskel, which I had never used before.
I never even heard of that. Triskel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So We used some Triskel and some Hallertauer tradition.
Wow.
Late boil additions. So
yeah, I was getting a Hallertau vibe there. Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we fermented it with a Northern European strain from Imperial, who's also been donating all the yeast, all the pitches for these beers. It was their seasonal strain, which is called Hygge. It's like a Dutch. It's like the Dutch word
that's all
for.
I hear. That's all I hear is a Hygge.
Yeah, it's like the Dutch word or Dutch word for like comfort or for like being comfortable. It's a whole like
Hygge. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few different ways to pronounce it too. So yeah.
And that's Danish. So
Danish,
I see. You mean was it Driscoll with a D or with a T?
With a T, yeah, Triskel. Yeah.
Huh. I can't find anything about it.
Interesting.
On the website it says it's a Triskel. Yeah, so Triskel is a new hop cultivar with an aroma similar to Strisselspalt.
There it is.
From which Triskel inherited its floral notes, but slightly fruitier. High content of essential oils make Triskel very suitable for late or dry hopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so on the Yakima Valley Hops website, you can go there. They have these like cool little, very simplistic flavor keys, and this one is high sweet fruit, and with the floral and cream caramel. Which, I mean, maybe you have to smell the hop, but sweet fruit and floral, that is exactly what we were talking about. Where it's like candied orange peel, but sort of like the flowers. We're good.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we wanted to use the Strisselspalt, but the crop wasn't ready yet, so we're like, all right, let's sub in the French hops. And Alan at Zoiglhaus didn't have any experience with them either. He'd never used them, so we just went for it. So
yeah, this is
turned out pretty
cool.
nice.
There's always so many new hops to learn about. And I like the big Pacific Ocean, tropical, Australian, New Zealand hops, but it's really cool to learn about some of these, the ones that we grow here in the U.S. that are of European descent, right? Strisselspalt, Triskel, where you've got this the cross between Strisselspalt and male English yeoman. Why would you wouldn't think that's growing in Oregon, but they're growing that in Oregon or Washington,
right? Yeah, we decided to go for it and see what happens. Similar, super low. I think
it's a good choice.
The aroma was really nice when we got them. The alphas were like in the 2s.
Oh, man, that sounds cool.
It's mellow and it just works.
Yeah,
for sure.
That sounds good in like a mild. I don't know why.
I bet it would be. This is a hop that it's got a little flavor, it's got a little aroma, it's got a little bitterness. It's there because you need the hop to be there, but it's not the star of the show. For sure.
Yeah, I think it pairs well with Schar, what you had said about the fresh baguette. There's that crusty little bread crust. I think it really pairs well with that kind of bready aroma.
Yeah, because it doesn't blend in with one another. There's still that differentiation, and I think in beers like these, sometimes I think you need that. A lot of times beers sort of the flavors sort of meld into each other. It depends. You might want that, and that's depending on the style. But I think like a lager like this, when I think of German style lagers, I think of these sections, these segments of flavors, and they shouldn't just be all one thing. It's not like a pale ale. Pale ale is basically just all one thing, but this is not that. And this hop does really well to help level those malt flavors as well. It's a very good highlighter. Yeah, it was a great sub, great choice.
I like that the brewer also chose not to go like, let's push it to the high end for alcohol. It's like, okay, this is a 5 to 6% alcohol beer, and they kept it a little understated at 5.4. That's nice because it's not, a little stronger alcohol might taste fine, but push it a little towards, it would stick out in the style a little bit more and be a little sharper that way. And this is real easy drinking, and I'm gonna easily go through this whole pint, no problem.
Yeah, totally. Next time you might want to think about an Imperial Dortmunder.
Yeah.
No, this beer is really great the way it is, and this is yet another great example of how it doesn't have to be 9% to have a lot of flavor and a lot of aroma and be a really great beer.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. I think commercial breweries are learning that finally.
Was there a mineral adjustment? I know Brian was curious about the water.
Yeah, I know there was, but I would have to check on that. I'll have to find out and get back to you guys on that. I know they were they were dropping a a bit in the boil.
It was very skillfully handled because it is not
Sure.
it is not overly I talk about this over and over again, but 10 years ago people started playing with their water, and homebrew was getting a lot better, and all of a sudden people started messing with their water without knowing what they were doing, and stuff got a little worse, and it was all like the minerality and the weird stuff people were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully about a year and a half later that kind of petered out. But I mean, water adjustment's great if you understand what you're doing.
That's why I don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't do it because I don't understand. I don't want to understand. That's the barrier of homebrew. I just don't care. I don't care about it.
Yeah.
The tools have gotten better for adjusting your water on a homebrew scale since at first. Like first is just like take your water and add 2 teaspoons of this and a teaspoon and a tablespoon of that. And now you can go in, Beersmith.
Don't worry about what your water is. Just add this.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That was people with like super hard water were like adding stuff. No, stop. Please don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, thanks, man. I appreciate you sending the beers, and obviously invitations open. Come back whenever, because these are always great conversations to have. Big shouts out to Zoiglhaus, and of course the Doernbecher Children's Hospital. Right?
Did you get a tally for how much was raised for the Children's Hospital?
I haven't yet, because they're still sort of at the tail end of sales.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should be pretty nice because we did 22 barrels, so it should be pretty cool.
Everything donated. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and
every little bit
so
helps.
Still like, definitely. Yeah, even I'm just doing these little projects and trying to stay connected to the community, and it's
having
cool.
a good time, man. Yeah.
Well, it keeps me connected to beer and the community, which is two passions.
That's what it's about.
And I'll be looking these guys up next time I go up to Portland, because I go up there fairly frequently, and I hadn't been to that one yet, so I would definitely seek it out. It sounds great.
Yeah, they're a great spot. As far as lagers go, I mean, in the Northwest, we have a few like specific places that are well known for their lagers, and they're getting more and more popular, for their, we've got Heater Allen, and we've got, Freem, and, we've got we have Chuck and Nut, just up in Washington, which also has a Portland location now. But Zoiglhaus their lagers are on point. They're doing a good job.
Yeah, it tastes like it.
Yeah.
Tastes like it.
For
All
sure.
right, we'll let you go, man. But I appreciate it. And what's the website again? People can go check out your project.
Yeah, it's oldstandbybrewing.com.
There you go.
And same on Instagram. I'm keeping up with all the updates and all the new beers. Just brewed another one last week with Gilgamesh Brewing here in Salem.
Oh, man.
Nice.
We did a Vienna lager, so that'll be cool. That's going to support the food bank here in Marion County where we are. So
that's great.
Yeah, that was the 10th one. So I'm just rolling with them. They keep happening. So brewers keep saying yes. And so, like you said, who wouldn't want a pallet of grain to show up at their door for free, right? I mean,
that's right. What are you going to do, man? Just some time and effort. That's about it. Yeah, well, keep us posted, man.
Right on, we'll do.
All right,
you guys having
we'll
me
let
back.
you go, man. And we'll take a quick break. We're going to come right back here on Dr. Homebrew with some pale ale talk and, maybe something else here. Hang on, everyone. We'll be right back. All right, thanks for hanging on, everyone. We are back, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about my pale ale. I think I talked about it a couple shows ago. I meant to have some to share and to give to you guys, but apparently I drank it all somehow.
Well, I helped you because I had some in your garage like a month ago.
You had like it was from my fermenter. Was it from the fermenter?
I believe it was from the fermenter. It may have been like just finishing up, and I thought it was really good.
It was tasty. I thought it was pretty good, but you know what? So I carved it, and it was definitely you know what? I think I have a picture of it. It was definitely old school, in the way that it a picture of the recipe, because I was talking off the air. I did it through, I don't know if I want to say, I did it through a popular beer recipe site that makes you pay a subscription service, and my subscription has lapsed, and I don't want to. I haven't paid it yet, so I can't get my recipe, which is obnoxious, but that's okay. I understand. Everyone needs to make money.
Do you remember
print
in
it out?
general what grains you might have used? I mean,
No,
not percentages, but
because what I do is I take a picture of the screen, and then I go to the homebrew shop. I go to More Beer, and I go, yeah, see, here it is right here, and then I that's what I do. So it was 8.9 pounds of US 2-row pale ale, 10.3 ounces of Briess Victory, 10.3 ounces of Munich 10 Lovibond, 6.9 ounces of white wheat, and 3.4 ounces of Crystal 15.
Yeah, I think that 6 ounces, 8 ounces of wheat is always a good idea for head. And we've talked about like the last several shows about Crystal, like just having that little bit, like what you say, like 2 ounces, 3 ounces of Crystal. That's you don't want to, the beers people made in the 90s were like 15, 20% Crystal for that stuff. But that little bit, that couple of percent of Crystal, I think really adds some good character without promoting going to cardboard real fast.
Yes, I definitely agree. I thought I had a picture of like what friggin' hops I used, and I don't. But I remember having, I remember it was fucking 2 weeks ago. I didn't like I liked the malt flavor, and that's sort of what I wanted to bring up is that, I do like these sort of older school pale ales. Crystal 15, I think if you're going to put a light crystal in, I think you should go Crystal 15 because it's a little more robust flavor wise, or at least there's a bigger dimension of flavor from 10 to 20, all right? Like 20 is too much. 10 is fine, but 10 to 15 isn't that much, and I think the flavor impact of 15 is worth a little tiny bit of color. But all in all, I thought it was pretty good, drinkability wise. But the hops I wanted to talk about, because I didn't really like the beer. The hops, I felt it was too bitter, and this conversation's super obnoxious because I don't have any of the data. But the you know who I did text? Hold on a second. Let me.
I tasted it, but I smelled it, and I enjoyed it. But
we text
I don't
about...
have the ingredients.
Yeah,
we
texted about, but was it just me and you, or was it with Brian too?
No, I think Brian was there, but nobody responded for a while. So fuck you guys.
And then I responded too late because you'd already bought the hops.
Yeah. So I was going to do Simcoe, Cashmere, and Sabro. Those were the hops I used. Simcoe, Cashmere, and Sabro.
Why did you choose? I'm just curious. What made you choose Cashmere and Sabro?
I don't know. Because I wanted to do sort of new school hops, but I don't want to go too new school and get like super fruity and whatever. I wanted to be sort of something a little bit more reminiscent of kind of older school hops with just a little bit of new flavor. And then just thinking about hops and remembering what I've had on shows. Like I've always been interested in using the Sabro, but I couldn't tell you what the fuck the flavors were. But like, oh, let's do that. And I think I went to More Beer, and I looked and I was like, oh yeah, I think this will work. Let's do it. So I was texting with Nate a little bit about what to do, because I'm like, this is what I'm considering dry hopping with. And he goes, you could make he was like, take equal parts of those 3 hops at flame out and dry hop at a rate of 1 ounce per gallon. And I'm like,
really? When you text Nate, that's activating easy mode, because Nate knows everything about hops.
Right,
and
well,
if you ask him what to do, well, exactly. That's the thing. I'm not slagging you for that. I'm saying that's the right choice. So call Nate.
But 5 ounces of dry hop in a pale ale, isn't that fucking insane? Isn't that a ton?
That's maybe more new school pale ale. When you're looking at, you're not trying to increase the bitterness, but you're trying to really maximize the flavor and the aroma.
Yeah. I'm finding I have to add more and more and later and later. And it's just crazy how much you have to add, even in a pale ale or, an IPA that's not crazy over the top hoppy. So when we were talking about your hop bill, and I was too late in giving you advice, I suggested, a quarter Mosaic, a quarter Nelson, a quarter Simcoe, and a quarter Citra, just for fun. But just a really small 5 or 10 minute edition, and then a big 20-minute whirlpool.
Yeah, and I got them too late.
Yeah,
I got this too late. But So what he was suggesting, so I pushed back. I was like, this is a lot, dude. And he's like, you could try cryo hops. I'm like, I've never tried cryo hops. I've heard about them. I've tasted them in my favorite beers, but I've never used them before. So I went and I got, they didn't have cashmere, so they had Mosaic. So I did Sabro, Mosaic, and Simcoe.
Oh, interesting.
Cryo hops. This is like
dabs.
$25 worth of fucking hops.
Damn.
These things are so expensive, but you open them up and you smell them. Like this Simcoe is 23.5% alpha acid. Mosaic is 20.8. The Sabro is 23.3.
Damn.
Because they take all the material out, right? So it's just the good stuff.
Right.
And it smells amazing. Like it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth the aromatics. And what I think I need to do next time I do it is cut back on what I think I need by 20%. Because for me, what happened is the dry hop, sort of the beer was a little too onion. It was a little too bitter for me, but it was like an oniony garlic thing.
Interesting.
And I don't know where it came from. I imagine it's maybe the Simcoe because that can kind of throw that. But I think if it's too much and then the dry hop was too long, there was a thing there. There's a combo that I didn't really like the beer, even though I finished it before I could even get it to you guys.
You know, when I had that bit off your fermenter, I don't remember getting the oniony garlicky.
It changed.
And that's usually like a Summit, right? Which is why people don't use Summit very much anymore, because it tends to that partly it's a harvest time issue, but Summit tends to be just garlicky, oniony, and kind of unpleasant. But yeah, it could be Simcoe. I mean, maybe Simcoe is more sensitive to harvest time. Maybe what we get as homebrewers is not the
I think that used to be the case.
Simcoe?
But I don't think that's the case anymore. We were speaking on this a couple months ago, I think, about how even with these newer hops, growers and harvesters they learn how to pick it now. So I think you're right. It used to be that way, but I think everyone's sort of on a playing field. At least people like more beer who can buy all this shit.
Of course.
But I'm positive Yakima's packaging them well, so I don't think it's that much of an issue anymore. But I'm blaming myself. I think it's overuse. So here's a question for you guys. Can oxidation help increase some of those oniony, garlicky things? That's the only thing I can think of because I'm not really that careful when I keg.
I mean, maybe I really don't know.
All right.
My understanding is a lot of those flavors come from harvesting, but I tend to agree with you that the growers now, they understand for the different varietals when to pick.
Yeah.
So you're not having this, you have the bell curve where you have the window of not cat pee.
Right.
And you have like, oh, there's a cat pee window here and a cat pee window here. I think they all pretty much, they're professionals. They do this year in, year out. I think unless it's maybe the first year of a brand new variety, they know when to pick it.
Right. I also wonder if it's a blend of the three. Maybe something in the Simcoe and the Mosaic doesn't really jive very well. I don't know. It was really interesting, and like I said, it's sort of a weird conversation to have if you guys aren't tasting the beer with me. But I wanted to talk about it a bit because overall I liked the beer. I liked the recipe. I want to try it again. Maybe I'll lighten up on the Munich and the Crystal just a little bit. But this dry hop thing, I'm not used to it. I think I was texting Nate and I was like, I haven't dried hop since Obama was in office. So like, I don't really know. I needed a primer on how long to do it and whatever. And, he told me and I didn't listen to him.
Mosaic, if bad, or maybe not bad, bad Mosaic to me can smell like feet. And Mosaic is a great hop. And a lot of people, that's their secret weapon. And good Mosaic is fantastic. And it's got wonderful flavor, wonderful aroma. But you get, when Mosaic first came out, there were commercial beers that you'd open up and this smells like feet. I'm not sure I want to drink this.
Well, and what I dug about the cryo hops is that you cut the package open and it is like the purest form of these hops. A lot of times you know, even just in the best, freshest hops, there's still vegetal matter. There's still green chlorophyll flavor going or aroma going on, but not in these guys. And it was really interesting. I was just sitting there smelling the packages. Like, this is awesome. And it's like a powdery thing. It was really wild. I loved it. I think cryo hops are the next big thing, guys.
Yeah.
They're pricey, but man, are they worth it.
Yeah.
They are absolutely worth it. Just to finish off those beers. Oh, that was great.
Which cryo hop did you use in that?
Simcoe, Mosaic, and Sabro.
Okay. I just see regular Simcoe. You sent me a picture of the hops you bought, and I don't see cryo on the
It's that blue here. It's that blue, blue line right there.
Yeah, those are the right ones. Yeah. I saw well, you can't see it probably. This picture of some hops you bought, but
no, I can't. Oh yeah, that's that was something for my mild or something like that. I don't think I sent you these.
Okay.
Yeah. Justin talked about cryo hops a few weeks ago on the session, and I realized it literally is. I don't do dabs because if I had one, I would be asleep until probably tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
But it's literally like, with regard, it's like, cryo hops are to hops like what dabs are to cannabis. It's like you take all the vegetal stuff out, you concentrate the oils and the wax and everything else. It's a very concentrated, non-vegetal thing.
Yeah,
it's very powerful, and it's again, I'm not going to have a dab of cannabis because we won't be doing the second show.
You'll be somewhere between Mars and Jupiter when you're trying to call in.
I'll wake up about 3:00 tomorrow somewhere on the shoulder of 4, wondering how I got there. That's not a good idea.
No. Well, anyway, there you go. That's it. That's my pale ale story. Again, sorry I drank it all. I didn't really have 5 gallons. It was like probably 4.5 when all said and done. But came out good. Cool. So trust me, it was 50-point beer.
It must have been terrible.
It was tasty, JP. It was. I'd say it's a high. I'd give it a high 30 based on out of the ferment.
Okay.
I'd have called it mid to high 30s. I thought it was good.
I thought it was good too, and then I didn't. And I didn't like it. And then you know what? As it aged out, it's funny because I also used Biofine for the first time in the fermenter.
Oh, really?
I had a hard time clarifying it, and I didn't really. I was like adding and adding and adding. I was like, I'm just gonna stop because ultimately I don't give a shit. I really don't care. But the longer it sat in the keg, I haven't opened the keg yet, so I'm interested to see what it looks like down there. But it sort of clarified a little bit, but not entirely all the way. But yeah, I don't know. It was good. And so anyway, as I got older, as the beer aged a little bit, I enjoyed it a little bit better, but I didn't really. My wife liked it more than I did.
I appreciate that you shared some with me. I thought it was good.
There you go. All right. Well, I'll do it again. All right, everybody, we're going to get out of here. If you are listening live, we stay tuned. We're going to, take a quick break and round up a bunch of beers. But what we are going to be doing is we're going to be drinking a bunch of Mexican lagers. When I say a bunch, I mean like 4. And we're going to shotgun them all and then try to kiss each other through the internet.
Yeah. That's going to be hard because we're all like 30 miles away from each other.
There you go. So the next show, we are going to be tasting Mexican lagers, and then we're going to be writing our own Mexican lager recipe for us to brew. We're all going to be brewing the same recipe, and it'll be fun. A fun little experiment, and, to judge our own beers and see how we can write a recipe, and maybe you guys can glean some knowledge out of that. But before we go to that show, on June 11th, we are going to be speaking with Matthias from Schlinkerla in Bamberg. He's going to be calling in. We're going to be doing this on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, I think is what it is. Maybe 10:30. I can't remember. But 10 o'clock-ish on a Sunday morning, June 11th, we're going to be going through smoke beer. We're going to be going through our the last 4 Schlinkerlas that we got. That we've had on the show the past couple months, and talking to Matthias about how Schlinkerla makes probably the best smoked beers in the world, and talking about World Smoke Beer Day and Schlinkerla in general, and how they're sort of like navigating the craft beer boom and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be great. If you love smoked beers and you love little beer talk like that, please mark it on your calendars and tune in. And
this will be cool. Yeah,
it'll be fun. I'm really
excited. It was going to be at like 8 a.m. originally, and I'm like, Sunday. I don't care. I'm up at 8 a.m. to talk to the Schlinkerla guy.
Yeah,
those beers are fucking phenomenal.
That'll be great.
I'll get up at 6 a.m. on Sunday if I have to do that show.
I want you to stay up.
I much prefer 10.
I want you to stay up until then.
I'm going to be
from now until
I will
then.
not sleep until that show.
All right, please do.
And if you are
till Schlenkerla.
If you are a German brewmaster at a major smoked beer brewery in the world, and you want to send your beer in to me, I'm Brian at thebrewingnetwork.com. Or if you're just a regular run-of-the-mill home brewer that wants to send your beer into us to be evaluated, it could be good, it could be middle of the road, it could need some work, and you want to know how to fix it, send it in to us, Brian at thebrewingnetwork.com. We'll get you hooked up with a show and discuss your beer with you.
You could be a home brewer in Bamberg doing smoked beer, smoking things in your backyard. And we would like to drink that. We'll drink that. We'll judge it.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, everyone, we're going to split. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, we'll see you later.